You clicked on this video not because of the thumbnail, because I still kind of need to work on my thumbnail game, but because you're probably like me. You have lots of goals, lots of aspirations, lots to do, and you feel like you're not getting anywhere. Well, I'm here to show you how to do more by doing less. Last week, I gave a pretty awful explanation on a practical tool called 100 units of time that would supercharge your productivity. If you didn't watch that previous video and have no idea what I'm talking about, that shouldn't matter because I kind of explained it a bit in the results. But if you do get stuck and when you're implementing this you need more info, go watch that other video or have a listen to Sam Ovens' podcast, which I'll chuck down on the link. I'll chuck the link down in the description. I myself use this tool and found it very valuable, and so let's jump into the results. So, just before we start, I just wanted to point out that obviously I didn't come up with the original idea. This is just the way that I did things, and I'm going to show you my version of it, and hopefully you can take something away from it and use it like this, or you can put your own little spin on it as well. But the overall 100 units of time idea I think is a really good practical tool to use for becoming more productive by doing less, pretty much. And so yeah, let's get into it. Okay, so how I set it up was I used my notes on my phone and just made a table like this every half hour, and as you can see, you can obviously be as specific or broad as you want, and my examples you can see on the screen here were just pretty broad, like gym, ate breakfast. Like, I did it that way because I knew at the end when I needed to calculate and break each task or action into like a category or a bucket, it would be easier for me to do that if I wasn't being so specific. Also, set alarms on your phone to match these times. So you could do every hour if you wanted, but I did it every half hour because I found that when the alarm went off, it was easier to just fill out the 30 minutes that had just happened rather than an hour going off and then trying to remember two different chunks of 30 minutes. That was just my preference. After that, you want to either at the end of each day or at the end of the whole thing, 7 days, or you can keep going for 2 weeks, 3 weeks, a month, however you want to do this. You break down each thing you write in the table and put it into a specific category. So as you see, I had like breakfast or lunch or dinner or whatever, and I just put that into a category called eat or eating or food or something. And yeah, hanging out with girlfriend, playing a game, watching a show with her, I would just chuck into a category called girlfriend or yeah, whatever. So you're just kind of generalizing all the actions that are similar. I originally was going to do it at the end of each day, but then as it got to the end of each day, I was like, no, I'm just going to go to sleep. So I guess I got a bit lazy there and just did it at the end of the whole 7 days. After me doing that, I personally recommend doing it at the end of each day because doing it after 7 days took quite a bit to do because there was 7 days worth of information to break down. So next thing, it doesn't really matter how many categories you have because you're going to be adding everything up into a total anyway and then like giving it a good or a bad sort of label and then just breaking it down like that. And another point I will point out is with the way I did things, I realized like some days I'd recorded something like, as you see there, getting distracted on my phone, and then I didn't put that in any other apart. So I was like way more specific with what I was recording on one day and then not with the other day. You want to try and keep as consistent as possible with how you track things, so it's way easier when you're doing all the scoring and calculating at the end. So now the next thing, after the 7 days has gone past and you've broken everything down into categories, you want to calculate in hours or minutes the amount of time consumed by each category. So me personally, I used a spreadsheet and just had the week, or not the week, the days at the top. So I started on Saturday, so my top row was Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, blah blah blah, to Friday. And then on the left I had my categories. The way that I found my categories was when I was doing the calculation. So I kind of did the calculation and the scoring, as you can see on this one, into the categories. So I broke things down into the categories and did the calculation at the same time using the spreadsheet. I went through my list on my notes and sort of generalized stuff and added the time as I went through. So I obviously started with the Sunday. Hey guys, editor here. I just realized I was meant to say Saturday in that clip when I said Sunday, and also I was just rewatching it as I'm editing it. I do a really terrible job of explaining what I'm trying to say here, so I'll just say it real quick now. With the calculation thing, the way I when I was filling in my spreadsheet, I would go through the notes that I had. So like Saturday would be 7:30, 8, so go through that table, and as I went through that table I'd be adding categories on the left and filling in the amount of time. Sweet. Back to the video. If there were multiple things in one 30-minute block, I didn't get like real specific. I just kind of tried to remember back to those 30 minutes and estimated like, oh yeah, I probably ate for 10 minutes and then showered for 10 minutes and got ready for 10 minutes, and I sort of just split it as evenly as I could remember, or use a bit of common sense with how long things would take. So I guess it's not like super accurate, but it's accurate down to 30-minute chunks, which I think is good enough. Anyway, so once you calculate the hours, so I was doing it in minutes. So this picture above here is a pie chart broken down of all the categories that I made, and the amount I did it in minutes. So it doesn't actually show, it just shows in percentages, because that's the next thing that you want to do. You want to turn it into percentages, so you can have a better understanding of what is, I guess, hogging most of your time. The next thing after that was each category that I had. So looking back there are all the categories like read, friends, meditate, all that stuff. You want to look at those and you want to give it a label with either value or waste. And as you can see, the value is any action that brings you closer to your goals and or will have a long-term positive effect on you, your well-being, your health, that kind of stuff. And waste is any action that is the exact opposite of what I just said. I was going to put a neutral option in, but then I decided if I did that I was going to label neutral on lots of things, and I found it was easier for me to be more brutally honest with myself if I just had waste and value. So they're my results. 34.5% of my my week was wasted in what I thought was wasted, and 65.5% of it was valuable. So now my goal is to obviously look at the things I labeled waste and try to eliminate, or just become more aware of that and not do it, because that obviously will give me more time to do like this YouTube stuff and get closer toward my goals. Okay, action time. So I touched on a little bit what I am going to do, but I 100% think you need this tool. I promise it will help you. If you do use this, make sure you comment your percentage, value to waste percentage down below. It'll be interesting to know how you guys get on with this. Also, if you'd like, you can send me a message on Instagram with your results and maybe go into detail a bit more, be like, oh yeah, I did it for a week, it was quite interesting what I found, blah blah blah, and we can just have a chat about it. And yeah, make sure to subscribe if you are enjoying this kind of content I'm putting out, trying out a new style, and I will see you in the next one.